mail-in ballots. Uh-oh, universal mail-in. Everyone, no one can go to the polls. COVID, COVID, COVID. Right off the bat, before the election is even upon us, we find out, thanks to James O'Keefe and a great crew over at Project Veritas, that none other than freshman Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, the person who says on 9/11 some people did some things, James O'Keefe and Project Veritas got behind the curtain with a whole crew of goons in Minnesota, and it turns out that they got caught ballot harvesting in Minnesota. And, you know, there's a video out there of, you know, some guy driving around saying, look at all these votes. I got 300 today for Ilhan Omar's opponent. And look, they're all in my car, and this is where the money's about. So, number one, I'm hoping that up in Minnesota, they're spending so much time figuring out what's happening with George Floyd and protests and riots and all this other stuff, that some enterprising young attorney general or district attorney will take a look at Ilhan Omar's election victory and how she did it, okay? And now, supposedly, there is an investigation going on. And Omar, she doesn't say anything about it. She just comes out. What does she do? She starts mocking Donald Trump about his taxes. Now, I'm going to get into Donald Trump's taxes a little later on. But again, the mainstream media is doing all they can to pull the wool over your eyes. Great article today on Newsmax from none other than Dick Morris, part of Bill Clinton's team, who explains to people, and you know, even you sitting at home, you just get in a system of things happening and you think it's normal, right? When you get your tax money back from the government, that is called a refund. That means the money the government took out of your check all year long was more than you owed. So at the end of the year, you get a refund, meaning, hey, we took more money than we should have from you. We held it all year, and now we're going to refund that extra to you. So one thing I might add is if you want a little more money in your paycheck, there's a thing called opportunity cost. It's something that you put into a strategy when you're looking at a business model or something. The opportunity cost is, well, if I spend this money here, what are the other opportunities that I will miss by not having that money? Okay, so when you overpay the government, okay, you have opportunity cost. What could you have done with that money? Well, maybe I could have stayed an extra day on vacation with my kids and made their life a little more fun. Maybe I could have went to that extra dinner last month with my wife and my family and felt good about it, okay? And those things may pop you up. And then at the end of the year, if you owe the government a little money, you pay them your taxes instead of letting them take more money than they deserve and give you a refund when they feel like it, okay? So when Donald Trump overpays his taxes, which he did, and by the way, you're not going to hear this reported anywhere on the mainstream media, but from 2006 to 2016, he paid $76 million in taxes, okay? And the couple of years that he filed for extensions, he paid his estimated tax, what he thought he might owe, okay? And then when Barack Obama changed the carry-forward losses in 2008, 2009, Donald Trump went back in and said, hey, I overpaid you back then. Now I can carry forward some losses, and he got some money back. That's called a refund. That's not called avoidance. That's not called evasion. That's not called tax fraud. That's called a refund, and he got a refund. Now, there are a couple of things in the New York Times article also where they said, well, Donald Trump took advantage of some shady deals where he bought property. Okay. He bought a huge piece of property in New York State with one house on it, and he expected to develop a golf course there. Okay? When the local community boards and municipalities gave him a hard time, they didn't want houses, they didn't want a golf course, they wanted to leave the bucolic setting, they made an agreement with them. He agreed not to develop the property, and they agreed to give him an easement where you can keep it, and we'll give you $100 million charitable donation for the conservancy that you did. You saved some green property. So when Donald Trump gets a deal with a local municipality, and he can use it as a tax write-off, again, any of us would do the same exact thing. Now, Charlie Kirk is a bright guy. He's one of the rising stars on the conservative side of things. He's one of the founders of Turning Point USA. And Charlie Kirk puts out some great tweets all the time. But Charlie tweeted this. He tweeted, "I'm far more interested in tax returns of a politician who became a multimillionaire than the tax returns of a billionaire who became a politician." And think about that now. In Joe Biden's last year as Vice President of the United States of America, okay, they have to report their estimated net worth in a range. And he said that his net worth was somewhere between $400,000 and $1 million. Okay, that's what Joe Biden said way back in 2015. Okay? So he was worth $400,000 in 2015. In 2018, Joe Biden announced that he paid $4.7 million in taxes. So I wonder, riddle me this. How does someone who had $400,000 in his last year of vice presidency pay $5 million in taxes just 3 years later? You do the math, okay? And when you start connecting the dots, okay, Hunter Biden got $3.5 million from the former mayor of Moscow's wife. Him and Devin Archer, John Kerry's stepson or son-in-law, they got $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife. Maybe some of that money trickles back to good old Uncle Joe. I don't know, but it sure seems like Joe Biden went from a poor politician to a rich former politician, lickety-split, just like that. And just one final thing, J.T. Lewis makes some real good observations out there. And J.T. Lewis is out there saying that he believes Joe Biden will be using an earpiece during the debate. And I think, you know, we're having the big debate show tonight. The Great Debate Show is going to be right here on Biz TV. And we're going to be covering it live from 8 to 9 with an all-star lineup. Kevin McCullough is going to join me, along with Frank Morano, Kirsten B. Tate. Aaron Elmore is going to be here in studio with us. Sky Ostreich is going to be here with AJ Katz. Carol Markowitz is going to be here. John McLaughlin, Donald Trump's pollster, is going to be with us to break it down before the show. And I am telling you this. We're going to do a little game tonight. Maybe have a drink when Trump says this or Biden does that. Let's watch how many times Joe Biden winds up pulling on his ear because his earpiece may readjust. And big odds are, imagine it falls out while he's talking. Who knows? We'll take a quick break. News of the day is done, but we got lots more to talk about on a terrific Tuesday. And my buddy Gary Goldman is going to join me right after this.